Hello and welcome to another Bitknits vlogs. Today I'm going to be showing you all of the granny squares that I have made from the yarn that I bought at FireFly Fibers. So if you're unfamiliar with this whole project that I'm doing, I am sort of taking a virtual yarn shopping tour to one small yarn shop or independent yarn dyer in each of the United States. So I'll have a ton of yarn to work up, and I'm creating granny squares because I wanted a super simple stitch. I didn't want anything complicated. So I'm making granny squares from each skein of yarn that I get. And I'm really trying to get those mini skeins so I don't have like 15,000 granny squares. So when the yarn comes in, I do a little video about the yarn shop, what they have to offer, the kind of yarns that they have. I unbox what I purchased from that yarn shop or independent dyer, and then I crochet granny squares to my little heart's content. And now here we are, and I have all of the FireFly fiber yarns crocheted into granny squares. So I'm going to show you how those turned out. If you're interested in a little bit more about FireFly fibers, I will link the video that I did when I first got this yarn so you can kind of see what the shop is like and what they have to offer, and maybe you'd like to purchase a skein or two from them as well. So let's take a look at the squares. So I bought 6 different skeins. These were mini skeins, FireFly fibers. They were about 90 yards each, and I could get about 4 or 5 individual granny squares from each of the mini skeins. So let's take a look at some of these beautiful squares. We've got this one, which is a really nice muted sort of pastel-y. We've got some pinks and some blues. Really pretty. Super pretty, worked up super nicely. And if you're interested in the names and how they looked in a skein, again, check out that other video where I kind of go through and show you all of the yarns in their original form. So that was one. This one I remember is Reaper's Rags. It's just a very dark color, it's like a charcoal. So those just look like regular granny squares, but when you put them next to some of the others, it'll be a really nice solid color amidst all of these variegated kind of squares. So there's that one. Next up, we've got this one. It's got some neon pink and even some neon yellow in there, if you can see that, against sort of like an off-white kind of color. So those are really pretty as well. And again, hold it up next to the solid, and that'll be a nice contrast. Another one, we've got some gray, charcoal, and there's even some brown in there. Again, this one will be really nice paired up with a solid granny or really anything. This blanket is going to be just a mishmash of all sorts of colors, and it's going to be fantastic. And I'm loving making these granny squares. Another one, so this is my 5th color, and it didn't take very long to crochet these squares, which is kind of why I wanted to do granny squares and not some other pattern where I really had to think. I can work these up really quickly watching YouTube or a movie or just whatever I need to be focusing on at the time. And here's my last square. I think this one's called Party Favors. So it's really bright. Those colors pop. Some pinks, teals. We even have some yellow in there. So we've got all of those, and like I said, probably 4 or 5 granny squares for each skein. So it works up really nice. I get a nice stack per yarn store or independent dyer to really showcase what that yarn can do. There are times when I cannot finish an entire skein, so I've got just a little bit left over, not enough to crochet a full square. So I just kind of mix and match the colors, which again, going to create such a fantastic looking blanket, just real granny inspired blanket for me. So in this bag, I've got all of my leftovers. I keep my hook in here. I've got my leftover yarn. There's a lot of solid colors in here that I keep so I can like border a square if I run out in the middle. I've got all of my squares where I did that, so I kind of know to keep them separate, at least for now. So we can take a look at these. And these are from all of the independent and small businesses that I have shopped at. So I will link that entire playlist if you're interested in looking at all of these shops and checking them out and just seeing what they have to offer. I like to shop small whenever I can, just to help out some fellow crafters and dyers that are like-minded. All right, so here's one that I really like. We've got, again, the neon sort of center, and I ran out at the end and I just kind of bordered it in blue. Another one that's very unique. And this one you can hardly tell, but right at the top I ran out, so I had to do 3 shells in a completely random color. But again, I absolutely love that. There's another one. And it's kind of fun to pick out the second color in some of these. Sometimes you want it to work. Like this one kind of works because they're kind of neon. Both were a little bit neon, but you can see the border, especially down here, I used a lighter color. So this looks like it has more of a white base, whereas the main part of the granny has like a darker base to it. So I've got a bunch of these where I just had to kind of mix and match. I've got all of my squares here that I just did. So many squares. Eventually, as I get more squares done, I'm gonna have to lay these out and kind of see how they're working together and how I want to join them. What order do I want to keep all of the stores together into like blocks and then join that way? Or am I just going to scatter all of these squares on a table or on my bed or some other really large surface and just see what happens? I don't know. That is for an entirely different video. We are not even close to that. I am expecting new yarn today from another independent dyer. This one I think is out of Colorado, so stay tuned for that. I will have a short video on that, an unboxing, and we can check out the yarn that I got from that shop. And I'm really looking forward to that because I need some granny squares to crochet. I have not been really in the mood to crochet huge blankets or even really anything that uses my mind. I really want something simple. I can just kind of relax, crochet some squares. It doesn't take a lot of time out of my day, so I don't feel rushed or like I'm not completing anything. I just love this project. I will do a video at some point and where I've got all of the squares laid out and we can take a look and see kind of how they're looking, and maybe you guys have some ideas on how I can organize them when I go to put them into an entire blanket. But for now, that's all I have. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to check out some of my videos. I'm working on some tutorials now. I've just been super busy and cannot find the time to actually sit in front of the camera and crochet a tutorial. So I'm getting there. I worked up all of these granny squares first, and I've been doing some other projects just for myself. So now it's time to get back into tutorials. So be on the lookout for some new blanket tutorials and just easy crochet projects. I'm hoping to get into my knitted temperature blanket as well, and that is a complete mess right now. So stay tuned. I've got a lot of different things coming up on this channel, and until next time, happy crocheting everyone, and happy knitting and happy crafting and happy Wednesday. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.